welcome back to Gaming Valkyries. I'm your host, Nars.
And I'm Allie Mew.
I'm Kitty Annalise.
Today we have another amazing episode. Before we start with our episodes, let's dig into a little news for the week. I'll go first. In recent news, there has been an announcement from Nintendo, from none other than the great Iwata, about a brand new Zelda and a brand new Super Smash Bros. And a brand new Yoshi game that's coming out for the Wii U. Now, will this be an incentive to buy the Wii U? I don't know. But because there was no gameplay, and pretty much it was just word of mouth, and pretty much the Nintendo telling us that these games are going to come out, leads us to believe, they still have no idea what the heck they're doing. Probably maybe it's just all a hype. But the fact that they went directly to the fans as opposed to waiting for E3 kind of brought up a bit of like a Kickstarter-ness to it, or more like a direct connection to their fans as opposed to going through another social media channel. So if anything, you Nintendo fans have been given a little love by Iwata, as well as a sincere apology for not having the Wii U launch on such a strong foundation. So I thought that was pretty cool how they did that.
I was gonna say, actually one of my friends, OIV Gaming, he recently bought a Wii U, and he played the Zombie U and also the Mario U, right? The one with the Super Mario U, where you can play up to 4 people. He loved that after playing that game. But the Zombie U sucked butt, and there was no other titles out, and he immediately returned the game. And he also told me that there was one more game, there's a soccer game, where you put the Wii U, the one with the screen, you put it down on the floor, and you're supposed to kick above it, so you can kick the ball. But the problem is the thing with the screen, that little device, you can't buy it separately. So if you break that, you need to buy a whole console of Wii U again. And he has little kids. He has little kids, and he was like, "This is gonna break, and they're gonna, rape me out of money, like take my money." Seriously. So he returned it after he beat the Super Mario Wii U. That was my thing. So that's really bad.
That is pretty bad. I mean, that was supposed to be an added feature to the Wii U, and now that it's kind of like an added con to it, it's kind of... I mean, to be honest, if this new Zelda game comes out to the Wii U, I'm definitely getting a Wii U, hands down.
Well, you let me know how it is.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know if it's worth $500, because obviously that's what it's going to be costing me.
Dang.
Because I think the Wii U is $300, and then with the game, and then who knows, maybe there's going to be, I don't know, some added thing that they're going to need, like, with the nunchucks, you needed a nunchuck in order to be able to play Skyward Sword. So, I mean, we'll see. In other news, sadly, this week, Atari just went Chapter 11. After so many years of being one of the most outstanding pioneer gaming companies, it finally went bankrupt. And to this day, it actually wasn't, again, no surprise. They owe more than $2.5 million to an investor. Or, I don't know, they owed money in debt. They were severely in debt, and they couldn't pay out their debt. They had until, I believe, the first quarter or the beginning of 2013 to be able to pull out of it, and sadly they weren't able to. So who's going to buy parts of Atari? I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. It's pretty sad, though.
Yeah, a lot of companies are going bankrupt now.
Yeah, like THQ. THQ recently just dissolved, and they had to auction off their games like Company of Heroes, Warhammer 40,000. I think it's going to Sega. Saints Row is going to Kocha Media. Homefront is going to be taken care of by Crytek, which I'm excited because they're the ones who made Crysis. And I heard Homefront wasn't that good. Like, it was good, the idea was good, but the mechanism wasn't great. So if it's running on Crytek, it's going to be awesome. THQ Montreal is licensing South Park to Ubisoft. I think that's funny because, I'm thinking of all the stuff that Ubisoft has, and they're getting South Park.
Yeah, seriously, like, what? Who was the genius behind that? Seriously.
I have no idea, but all I know is THQ, of all the games, the game Darksiders, they're trying to find the appropriate buyer for Darksiders. I'm not sure why, but I think it's because it's their baby. Yeah.
I've seen a video about Darksiders, and it got pretty much like really terrible what's it called,
Reviews?
commenting.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll talk about I totally forgot what it was, but it was just got this guy bashing Darksiders being a ripoff of another game. Oh, I totally forgot the game. I don't remember, but whatever. Back to news. When it comes to games, I guess something that interesting that happened this week that I want to kind of talk about right now, it happened with Namco Bandi. Apparently, if you guys know, the new game Ni no Kuni Wrath of White Witch was just released. And an editor's edition was released, calling it the Wizard Edition of Ni no Kuni. And it featured a doll, a book, the game software, 5 artworks, an edition coin, and like a bunch of other stuff that was included with it. Funny thing is that an eBay seller by the name of Play Canada purchased hundreds of copies of the Wizard Edition, which somehow resulted in an overall shortage of the special edition, meaning that other customers never received a copy. And Namco Bandi decided to send out $20 Play Namco credits and a strategy guide to all the customers that were affected. Now, it's kind of ridiculous because if you think about it, an editor's edition, an edition like that, normally it's like hundreds of dollars. So $20 and a strategy guide, not necessarily worth the same amount when you look at like how much this Wizard Edition had within it. And the even more ridiculous thing about it is that how did this guy get to buy hundreds of copies or hundreds of Wizard Editions, without any, repercussions to it? Like, there was no limit to how much he can buy. There was no, time limit either. Like, he was probably able to buy as much as he wanted. Whoever this person is, like, what are you going to do with all those copies and with all those dolls and with all those artworks? Like, and they're all in Italian. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And it's kind of controversial whether or not Namco Bandi actually did this themselves. I mean, they probably wouldn't have benefit either, but it's just kind of funny, like, what kind of maniacal person would have done it? I don't know.
I mean, the only thing I think of is he's going to try to rip people off and sell it for like $1 bajillion each a piece, and hopefully people don't do that, because that's so messed up.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know. I thought that was just the most hilarious thing in the world. And, like, the game is really good. And, like, I'm gonna go get the game as well. But it would have been nice to get the special edition now. And the thing is that Namco Bandai is not even doing anything there about it. They're like, oh, well, this guy bought them all, so you're not getting any. And we're not making any more either, so...
That's so stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. Lots of angry fans, that's all I have to say. So, I guess we'll move on to our next, weekly thing that we do, and it's, what game are you playing? So I guess I'll go first. Funny thing is, I'm actually picking up Second Life. I know you ladies probably know it, but I'm doing research on a topic, how to implement ARGs, or alternative reality games, into social functions like Meetup. And it's interesting though, because when I jumped onto Second Life, I thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's super glitchy. it doesn't function as well as I'd like it to. And like me, I'm the type of person that just likes to venture off and kind of like search and explore and whatever. I came across this one other I guess person that's online, and they started telling me like the weirdest things about Second Life. And there's one thing that really caught my eye, is that a lot of gaming companies apparently have networking parties in apartments in Second Life, meaning there's actual social functions that happen in Second Life where people can actually network and then in real life meet and get jobs in companies. And she was telling me she was watching a documentary, or I don't know who it was, that they saw a documentary where people actually got jobs through Second Life by going to networking functions at like some CEO or like some game designer that had an apartment party in Second Life. People came in, they networked, and then they get jobs in real life. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And I was like asking this person, I was like, where are these parties? We have to find them. We have to hack into them. So we started like exploring Second Life. But Second Life is like massively huge. There's like so many glitches to go into, and it was just really interesting. Like now we're on an adventure to find and like I don't know, it's like Wedding Crashers, but instead it's like corporate Second Life party crashes. I don't know.
Definitely.
That's interesting. I took a class on Second Life, and we basically explored the virtual world, and I had no idea that Second Life was like that interesting. There's so many people, and our teacher was telling us that they have universities now doing classes in Second Life. So you can go to school and sit down with your professor and everybody else and actually have class and get credits for it. I just thought that was like, really crazy, but there's a lot of stuff to do in Second Life, and it's almost like it's a real world, but in a video game.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since I don't really know much about Second Life, I heard that anything you buy in Second Life, you use with real money. It scales the same way. Like, if I was to buy, I don't know, a house for $100 in that game, you actually pay out of your credit card. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of people, and I read an article about it. There was a woman from China who actually started a clothing line, but she started it inside Second Life. And she was making hundreds of thousands of dollars because people were paying money to her to create these elaborate, clothing, but in the game. And she was making a fortune. And like, people are making a lot of money on furniture in the game, houses, property, and it's like, it's so crazy because it's just a game, but people are paying massive amounts of money. And like this game in itself, it's very glitchy, but it's like people are using it in so many different ways, and that's why I started playing this game, because fundamentally this, like, Second Life is like that bridge, that barrier, between real and virtual reality, and it's fascinating. I mean, the game sucks as hell, but it's just a fascinating concept.
Oh my god. Wait, so did you buy anything yet? That's what I'm curious.
I haven't bought anything yet. Apparently, like, you can create your own things. It just takes a lot of effort. I was talking to some other people in one of the I guess world or something like that. You can use like Photoshop or something called Bends or something like that to create your own type of clothing. Blender. Yeah, Blender. To create your own type of clothing and whatnot. People sell it, so you can sell it as well. But for the most part, the lady gave me like a free outfit, and I was very grateful.
Yeah, I've actually done modeling in there, and I had made this little Pac-Man room. Aww. So I sold it on Second Life for only, I believe it's like every $1 in real money is like 300 money in Second Life. So, like, I was kind of selling it for at least 20 cents. I don't really make much, but you can certainly make money in there. And it takes a while to create everything on there. I had created an arcade for class. Second Life is pretty complex.
So yeah, that's the game I'm playing right now. It's pretty interesting. I've only played it for one day, but I was playing it till like 2 in the morning while editing our video podcast, so it was pretty interesting. I was delirious by the morning, that's for sure.
What were you doing in the whole game then? Just exploring?
I was just exploring. I was trying to see where I could go, because you can fly in the game as well. You just jump and you start flying places. So I'm really big into flying. Like, if a game allows me to fly, I'm playing it. So
that's like Minecraft, I guess. Yeah, creative. But no, I was just curious. Like, so you were just visiting people's houses, or what about your friend? Like, how do you talk to people? You just type and the bubble comes out?
Yeah, it's kind of like any other like MMORPG. You kind of just type and a bubble comes out, or you can do like whispers, so you can have like an IM on the side and you can talk to them. So I pretty much told this person, why don't you go to a different area? Let's like split up and start finding, and meeting new people and finding new worlds, whatever. My friend went to like this testing, and I found out, I was talking to somebody else, but a good percentage of Second Life is for adults, so there's a lot of adults only areas. God knows what they do there, but I didn't do anything there. I went to like a medieval RP area, which was very interesting. People do hardcore roleplay, and I thought it was really interesting because they are really invested. I mean, I used to RP, so it's like it's fun, but like these guys are really invested, like the clothing and like
so
the concepts. It's kind of like LARPing, but it's like virtual LARPing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's virtual LARPing, and like you can change everything about yourself. You can change your hair, your clothing. You know, you can be an elf, you can be a druid. Like you create your own character in this world, and it was really interesting just watching these people kind of like there was two people fighting. They weren't actually physically fighting because you cannot actually physically fight in the game, but they were LARPing that they were fighting, and it was really interesting. Any other games that I've played? I'm trying to think. I'm definitely. Oh, so I know that you, Ali, you're playing ChronoBlade.
Yeah, I
So-
played a good 45 minutes of it.
Get cracking, gamers! You want to play this awesome new game? Some of the game developers that actually made this game are also developers for Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. So it's a bit of like a Torchlight / Diablo kind of ambiance to it. And so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool hack and slash game. What I really like about it is you don't have to download anything. It comes right off of Facebook. You can pop it open on your browser, and this awesome 3D console-like graphic quality comes out, and you just hack and slash. And I could probably see myself playing it if I'm at school and not paying attention, just playing this game. It actually has a lot of customization. You can pick between I think 4 characters. There's a girl character. Wow. There's this really bulky character, but I think there's 2 more characters. But we have no access because it's still beta.
Right.
And I heard and also read the fact sheet that it's co-op for 1 through 4 people.
Oh wow!
So that's really interesting. But I don't
really
think you
awesome.
can do anything now because it's still in beta mode. But I really thought it was great quality for something I didn't have to download, and all I have to do is just open up a browser. It's pretty cool. Yeah. I can't wait to see what they do.
I can't wait to play tonight.
Yeah.
So what about you, Kitty? What games are you playing right now?
I have been playing a lot of older games. One is called Wet, and
I know
this
that
is a
game.
360 game. Yeah, I love that game. Also, have been doing Black Ops 2, and a lot of Minecraft. I've been building stuff with my cousin. She actually went ahead and bought the game on Xbox, so we've been doing that. I feel kind of guilty about saying this, but I've been playing Maple Story.
Ah! I love
I
Maple
remember that.
Story.
Yeah, it's on Steam and it's free, so I'm like, why not?
Why not?
And it's still addicting as ever, so yeah.
You still have to buy stuff in order to you have to use real money in order to buy certain stuff in the game.
Yeah, to get fashion items, you have to actually buy money. I think the cheapest one would be $5.
Meh.
So, yeah. But other than that, it's still relaxing. If you guys haven't played in a while, they have added so much stuff on it.
Really?
There's 15 new classes.
Wow.
There are maybe I think 6 new areas to explore, complete full islands.
Wow.
It's really been upgraded.
Well, I'm never sleeping tonight. I'm gonna be playing ChronoBlade and then catching up on Maple Story. I think I didn't like Maple Story just because I had been playing Fly for Fun for so long, and I was just like, oh, this is 2D. This sucks. I want some 3D flying action.
Yeah.
But
That's a good one.
yeah, I mean, but Maple Story was still very addictive. But it's so confusing because it kind of just when I played it, they kind of threw you into the world, and then you had to figure it out as you went. But
Yeah, it has a training mode now.
okay, cool.
It's pretty good.
I think I'll definitely check it out. Well, that's a lot of great news, guys. Great game. So our topic today is video game genres girls play. Now, I know me, Allie, and Kitty, we all have different likes, and then there's some genres that we just don't normally touch. So I guess we'll start with MMORPGs. Personally, I'm a big avid player of MMORPGs. I think my first MMORPG was probably World of Warcraft when it came out probably years ago. I played that for a year and a half, and then I went on to Final Fantasy, and then I went on to Rift, and then I went on to Aeon, and then I went on to the social MMOs as well. There was a social MMO called The World, which is a reflection, which is kind of a dumbed down game from .hack, but it was created by gamers for gamers until it was shut down by CyberConnect too. And then they tried to, then now they're starting to create their own version of it, but never rely on CyberConnect 2 to do anything. Apparently, they're not they're kind of like the lazy pothead who just wants to like sit down and do nothing but like smoke and play games. That's my impression of CyberConnect 2. So, I mean, do you ladies play MMORPGs? And if what, which ones? And if so, which ones?
I've never played any MMORPGs.
The only one I've really played has been MapleStory. And, like, I played this back in high school, and we spent a long ass time playing, like, days, and oh my goodness, it's the thing that about MMORPGs, I feel they're so addicting because there's so many things to do, and there's like a billion quests and like stuff to pick up and loot. But mostly like MapleStory, and then the second one I played was FlyFF. I think that's about it. I don't really play them too much anymore.
I mean, I've played so many that I can't really, like, there's some that I just, like, don't remember, like Fly for Fun, and then there was another one called Guns, and then there was another one, fudge, what was it called? It was, like, I played, like, Furcadia, I know, don't hate me, it was, like, a social MMO, and then, just, like, tons of, like, I don't know what it is about MMORPGs, but I love being able to be like another entity, another character, and then kind of like creating that character from the ground up to my expectations, to my own likes. And I think probably the game that I connected with the most was actually Final Fantasy XI. Being a white mage was one of the most empowering and uplifting experiences I've ever had. I mean, the game itself is just so beautiful in the sense that, you know, you can travel to vast areas, and everything in the game is just like, it's done so that you take your time, you know, while you're walking around. Like, I remember just sitting at the edge of a cliff and watching the sunset and actually seeing the waves kind of like flow over and like the birds fly in the air, and it was just like, wow, this is so pretty. Like, it was really gorgeous. And like being in the cathedral, there's a cathedral that once you're a higher level, it's pretty much the divider between the heavenly world, where you fight like really big I believe they're like aeons or something like that. I totally forgot, it was so long ago. But the cathedral was just huge, and it was gorgeous. There was like, you know, stained glass windows and like beautiful sculptures, and it's like, I'm watching this on like one of those cheap ass TVs, you know, in the 90s. From the 90s, and it's still beautiful, it's still stunning, and it's played on a PS2. I wasn't even playing it on a PC, and it was just, you know, being this white mage character. I think the best thing about being a white mage is that I was a badass healer. Like, nobody died in my party, nobody, and I made it my optimum goal to make sure that nobody died and that everybody was buffed, and then I didn't die, and if I was being killed or something like that, that I would do evasive maneuvers to kind of, you know, get out of being, you know, being targeted, because, you know, if you heal too much, you get actually attacked, so it's kind of like really interesting. And you also, white mages had the opportunity to teleport, and only white mages had this ability. So if you had a black mage, if you were half white mage, half black mage, meaning you could have a secondary job, you could be able to teleport people and then teleport yourself back to the location that you have a home link with. So, you know, as a white mage, being a main, I could teleport people to different parts of the world. And having a black mage as a secondary job, I could then teleport myself back to a home link and continue doing that. So I make money doing that, charging like 2,000 gold for every, you know, link, which wasn't that much, but sometimes I get freebies away, and it was the most empowering thing, because that was a reflection or characteristic of what I see myself in the real world. So I have yet to find a game that actually did that. So I guess I'm the only one that plays MMORPGs, so I kind of wanted to talk about, you know, how MMORPGs kind of like, they are ideal reflections or potential personalities or reflections of ourselves that we hope to live up to or hope to express. So I wanted to express that I wanted to be a healer, but...
No, that's cool. No, actually, you know, even in other games, my friend is always a healer. Like, in Mass Effect, there's always someone who picks... Like, everybody can pick up, but there's always this one person that's really good at surviving and picking up everybody who keeps dying. And that's my friend. Like, I forgot, we were playing also... Borderlands 2, he was the one that actually is able to survive the longest and pick up everybody. If it wasn't for him, you know, which is hilarious, because I think in Happy Wars I think there's a healer too, and He's always
Yeah.
a healer all the time, and he's like really good at it. So I'm pretty sure if he played World of Warcraft, he would be a healer too. So, I'm pretty sure that transcends throughout games. But yeah, that's my spiel.
Okay, so I guess the next genre that I want to talk about is first-person shooters. Now, I am not a first-person shooter, so take it away, Allie and Kitty.
Oh man, I feel right at home. I don't know about you, Kitty, but I'll express how I feel about first-person shooters. At first, this was not my genre at all. My genre was playing Mary games, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, DDR, and I'm like, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts at most, and that's pretty much it. Nintendo stuff and PS3, Kitty, like anime stuff. And once I stepped and got hooked onto Halo 3 and got really good at it, it was just FPS games all the way. Like anything that had to do with the gun in your hand, that was like my genre. And I don't know, it just feels gratifying just to be able to like release your, I guess, stress just by going in with your friends and shooting with your gun and just testing against PvP, people versus people. It's just fun. I don't know, it's just really fun. And also, of course, we talked about it last week, but sometimes trash talking is great. Up to a certain point, it gets really sick, but I just like it. I don't know, I'm always feeling like I'm being tested or something. How about you, Kitty?
Yeah, well, for me, I played first-person shooters starting back with like Doom and Wolfenstein. But there was a break where I didn't really play many first-person shooters and stuck mostly to like survival games and stuff. But I actually really do like playing first-person shooters.
The first-person shooter game that I really, really changed me and really got into was Left 4 Dead. This game literally changed a lot for me. It was like a different game than what I'm used to playing. Like, I'm used to playing survival horror and adventure games and stuff like that, rhythm, but first-person shooters, holy crap. Left 4 Dead was fun because you had zombies. I was on my first clan, Gamer Beauties, and we really kicked butt on game battles, and that really changed me.
But I didn't really get into it until Modern Warfare 2. As soon as that game came out, it's like everybody's playing it, and that was definitely not my genre. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of bandwagoned it, and I'm like, ooh, I want to play. So then ever since then, it's always been like, first-person shooters, I'm surprisingly good at them. It's really fun. You really get to connect with people that I wouldn't have been able to connect with through other games and so. It's like really competitive, especially being able to play with different people at all different skill levels. I like being able to play first-person shooters, and my favorites would have to be, I do like Call of Duty, Gears of War. Is also a good one. Well, that's actually a third-person shooter.
But it's still a shooter nonetheless. I feel like with first-person shooters, I feel at home because if you let's just say if you jumped into Halo, even though you haven't gotten Halo 4, you would feel comfortable in it because all the controls are almost the same. Like the mechanisms is almost the same. There's always something, but I just feel at home. Like Far Cry, like some of the controls are different. I'm always like punching something because I think I'm gonna prone. But I'm not, I can't prone. I'm like, fuck, Call of Duty control fucking me up. But it feels at home.
Yeah, it does. The reason why I like playing first-person shooters is I like that competitive feeling does come out when I'm playing them, and it feels good, especially if you're on a win streak. You just want to keep playing. Even like with the clan, we do stuff and we rank up and just get points. It's like that motivation that you're actually getting somewhere, and you are getting noticed through like game battles and potentially MLG events. It's always something to work towards, and you can always improve and work harder at it. That's like the main reason why I do like first-person shooters.
I know, same here.
Wow, that's awesome. I sadly I can't really relate. It's just I suck so much at first-person shooters. I mean, like, I can play a game, like I can go through it, and like I'll enjoy it, I'll love it, but I'm not multiplayer at least decently well. I mean, I'm the person probably you're constantly gonna have to save in the FPS. So
it takes a long time to get good at it.
Yeah, and I think with me, I'd rather invest that in like Guild Wars 2.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you played often enough and also had people coaching you, you probably get good at it because, you know, I feel like maybe you just have that, like, oh, I'm stuck in this genre. Because I came out of my shell when I went into MOBA, to League of Legends. That was the first thing I've ever played. I've never played, like I said, no MMORPG, no nothing, clicking character going somewhere. That never happened. And I was, like, really freaking out. And I actually quit on LOL the first time I played it, like, a long time ago. And then my friends were like, come on, gotta get into it. You can't just give up. Don't be this stupid, you know, FPS person. Just, you know, be that, you know, butthead. And I was like, okay, fine. And I really took the time. I actually watched tutorials. I sat down and, you know, played, you know, a couple of games with the bots. And I actually, you know, like how the Super Bowl is on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's football every Sunday. We had the World Championships of 2012. I was watching every Saturday with all my friends who played League. We were watching it, eating popcorn like it was the Super Bowl, and I learned so much. It wasn't even funny, and that's how I, you know, learned how to play LOL. And
That's really amazing. Yeah. I think for me, it's just I lack.
I think you need that drive too. If you really want to, I'm pretty sure me and Kitty would want to help you out and guide you.
Oh, semicolon 3. Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't have many girlfriends who do play first-person shooters, so like girlfriends, you know, that I can play either community or in real life. So
Yeah.
zombie mode.
I'm still up for playing League of Legends and zombie mode, if anything.
I'm totally down playing League of Legends, but yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to the next genre. Now, as opposed to MMORPGs, RPGs are a little bit different because they're offline, obviously. So games like Final Fantasy, Legend of Dragoon, Chrono Trigger, like those type of games, Tales of Graces as well. Those types of games are the games in the category of RPGs. Now, obviously, for me, I play MMORPGs. It's kind of obvious that I play RPGs as well. And I think the great thing about RPGs that I play so much is just the story. Like, it's a story that you're experiencing firsthand. You know, regardless if you don't have the full control of what direction you're meant to go to. Like, mostly when it comes to like Final Fantasy games, it's pretty linear. Like you can't really change the fate of Aeris in Final Fantasy VII. She's going to die. There's nothing you can do. So it completely is different from MMORPGs. But in a sense, it's kind of like taking a book and bringing it to life, and then being immersed into that book and being a character within that, or being multiple characters, like in Tales of Graces or in Legend of Dragoon, you could be multiple characters. But I think that's a great thing about RPGs. I mean, what about you ladies? Do you ladies also play RPGs?
I do to an extent. I'm really picky when it comes to finding the right RPG. But the one that really got me was Fallout 3. It's like, as soon as I played it, I felt good. Like, the world was so, like, post-apocalyptic. But the thing that I really love about it is that it's not like this whole fantasy Dungeons and Dragons thing. Because, like, personally, I don't really like that. And it felt like just, I don't know, like so new and like weird. Like, this could be the future. Like, the whole world is radiated and you have to like watch out for crap and like rad scorpions, and it feels really good playing Fallout 3. And obviously, like, the story was really good. I like being able to pick my own options when it comes to RPG games. And also create your own character. But yeah, Fallout 3 was definitely one of them. I don't know if Borderlands would be considered an RPG.
It would be considered an RPG, but it's actually mixing RPG and first-person shooter, which is the interesting about those two games, and games like Mass Effect, where it's a first-person shooter, but it mixes RPG elements, which makes it even more more depth. So it gives it more depth and more involvement, and that's probably why it's actually so much fun.
Yeah, those are like the kind of games I love. Borderlands, BioShock, Mass Effect, anything where I can actually like really shoot stuff, I really love.
What about you, Allie?
Is Zelda considered an RPG?
Yeah, it's considered an RPG.
Because I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, it involves a sword. No, but I'm serious. I loved Zelda when growing up. and it's interesting to watch from Zelda go from like the Game Boy all the way to even the Wii, where it's like first person slashing. I guess if you think about it. I don't know, it's just I keep seeing this game keep evolving and trying to make things more interesting, which makes things exciting for me. Because I would have never thought growing up, this little pixel little elf is gonna go into a 3-dimensional world where you can walk around and hack and slash literally with a controller, like it was Link's freaking sword. So I think that's really interesting, and how all the characters evolved. I think they made it a lot more scarier too, and with the collecting the droplets. I don't remember which game. There's one game where you're collecting droplets, and then there's another one where you're collecting like petal leaves in this really nightmarish world. And I was scared shitless.
Yeah, Skyward Sword. It does that. You gotta go into like this alternate
I was scared
dimension.
Shitless. I'm like, if I was a kid, I'd be pooping in my pants right now. And you have
I pooped my pants a couple times with that.
I was sweating like balls, because it's like if you don't make it on time, these creatures start, moving and going towards you, and there's no way of saving yourself.
I think the music really does it for me. It's just
does.
like dun 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 dun, and it's like, oh shit, no! And then you're kind of just running, and then like that's pretty much.
Is Kingdom Hearts considered also RPG?
Yes. The thing with RPGs, they mix a lot of like RPG adventure. So yeah.
I loved Kingdom Hearts for the longest time, and it makes me sad that it's taking them so long to freaking even get moving to Kingdom Hearts 3, because like I feel
I know.
the crap that's coming in between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, like for the DS, I don't know, they're just milking it, and I'm out of the loop with the story at this point. Like whatever's happening in between with all those different genres that's like on the DS, 3DS, I don't know what the hell's going on. All I know is I remember Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and I hope 3 comes out, and I don't get confused the hell out when 3 comes out. But, no, I just loved it, because, it was Disney plus Final Fantasy characters in one game, and it was like a beautiful story. I don't know, it's just something about that game that made my heart melt, and I cried in Kingdom Hearts 1.
I cried too.
Oh my god. And the music, they picked Hikaru Utada, like one of my favorite artists, and I don't know, just everything was just made perfect. I don't know. Aw, my childhood. And yeah, of course I played, like with Kitty, Far Cry 3, Fallout 3. I mean, I think, like, the one thing that really made it true to, like, the setting is the music. The music was awesome in Fallout 3.
It's true.
It was.
Like, New Vegas...
I had to, like, download all of that soundtrack.
Me too! But New Vegas did not do it for me. Like, New Vegas was like, oh yeah, New Vegas. I was like, oh, this game sucks.
Didn't. The DLC, oh my goodness. I don't know what they were thinking, but I still played it and I liked the main quest, but it was definitely not Fallout 3.
I really just like Fallout 3, the setting, and I don't know. I was so immersed in it. I love that setting, the post-apocalyptic feeling.
Yeah.
They actually mentioned that they're probably... I think I heard somewhere about a Fallout 4. I'm not really sure. But
we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Alrighty, so our next genre is fighting games. Now, I know, Kitty, you're a fighting gamer. So
yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes.
About why you play?
Fighting games are awesome. Oh my god, it's so technical. Like, when I was younger, okay, I was like, 6 years old playing Mortal Kombat, which I probably shouldn't have, but it was fun. And all I did was push buttons and watch, like, heads fly off and stuff, which doesn't sound, like, kid-worthy, but that's mostly what I did. Fighting games have always been interesting to me because you get to pick a character. Each character in the game is completely different than the next one. So, for instance, I could pick someone like Ryu from Street Fighter, who's all about, like, karate or so. And then I could pick someone like, let's say, Sea Viper, who has, like, all this technology, and she does these different moves and stuff. It's like you get to pick your character, stick with it, and learn them. you have like a personal connection with the character that you're fighting. Now, it takes forever to actually master and get good at a game without actually just pushing buttons. And when you think about it, like the input of fighting games is so different from any other games that you're going to play. You're playing first-person shooters, the only thing you're really moving is maybe the aim and walk stick. But when you're playing fighting games, you have to put in certain inputs to get something to come out. It feels weird because it's like a completely different gameplay and it's not continuous. It's like, okay, next battle, fight, blah 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 blah. But fighting games are cool. They're all completely different, which also is really amazing. Like Street Fighter is a 2D fighter, Tekken is 3D, and the stories are all completely different. The thing that I like the most about fighting games is being able to challenge yourself. Mm-hmm. It takes forever. Like you can start in Fight Pad and, you know, work your way up to a fight stick. It's very challenging. But it's really fun. You get bored of one character, you can always go and learn another one. The people you meet are amazing. All they want to do is help each other out.
Oh,
the community, yeah, the community is always just, it's on top of its game. That's like one thing that makes me always want to keep playing, and people are like, oh, you know what, you're good with this character, you should do tournaments and blah blah blah. You know, it's kind of like the same feeling I get when I play first person shooters, that whole competitiveness.
Right.
It's like you have to be on a certain level to really get there. But fighting games, they're so fun. You can just play it for fun and just button mash the crap out of the game, or you can just actually play it and try and get good and try to be the best.
I think like I recently started playing Tekken Tag Tournament with Dash, who also works with at GG Vogue, and she's actually trying to get really good at it to participate in tournaments, and she's being trained as well by a lot of people in the community. And she was telling me, you know, a lot of them they're willing to like go out of their way to mentor you to like become better.
Yeah,
and I like
so true.
I love that about the fighting game community. And like, so I started playing Tekken Tag Tournament. One of my character is Angel, and you're absolutely right, Kitty. Like, it's not just like if you want to be good at games like those, you really need to like, okay, like diagonal up, you know, and an XO, you know, does, you know, starts the tag, you know, starts like a move that if you press tag, you know, your partner comes in and you can do a combo, and it's like systematic. Like you need to know what the heck you're doing because you can't just button smash. You know?
It really is. Like everything you do, it has a certain input, and every game's different. Like, for example, Street Fighter, you have to like half circles, quarter circles, and there's like this little Z formation you have to do on the joystick or joypad or whatever. And then there's other games like Mortal Kombat where it's just like forward, back, up, down. So it's like you really have to know your stuff, and on top of you knowing your stuff and knowing your inputs, you have to also link combos together. If you want to, you know, get like the maximum input of damage, you have to link combos. On top of that, you have to read your opponent, because you have to see what they're doing, and you have to block while on top of trying to remember combos and figuring out what to do at the same time. And then on top of that, you have to like worry about what your opponent's doing and what their skill level is. But it's so technical.
But I mean, this is why they have like grand tournaments. Like this is why people go crazy during these tournaments, because, you know, the guys that are pro, they really are pro. They've spent hours and like a lot of like blood, sweat, and tears and like researching to like find the most optimum combos to execute. And like each, I was figuring out that each character in Tekken Tag Tournament is completely different from the other. So you can't just switch characters like you do with like other games. I forgot what game it was. Like you know, with like Naruto, like the Naruto Shippuden, I believe it's called. You can just like be any character, and you know it doesn't matter. You know, you can always win or lose depending on, you know, who dies first. But like with games like Street Fighter, games like Capcom versus Marvel, games like Tekken, like they require skill, they require, you know, knowledge and wisdom about the game and the characters in particular, and even a lot of training and ability to be able to be good at it. And I respect and admire a lot of those, you know, fighting gamers in the community.
Yeah, I know so many people that are at that expert pro Evo status, and they still don't think they're good enough. they still have to train like hours after hours.
But I definitely love like the thrill, like, you know, when you're playing a game. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Like for me, it doesn't matter if I win or lose. Like I love the thrill of just you know playing the game, and then like if even if I like win once, I think that it makes me so happy, and I'm just like, yeah, I kicked your ass. And if I lose, and I'm like, you know, you kicked my ass. That was good. So I don't know. It's always like I'm on the edge of my seat, and I love that about fighting games. And I think that's why I'm like getting into Tekken Tech Tournament. It's just like it's a constant exhilaration. I don't want to stop. Like I'm actually going to invest in getting an arcade stick because I can't do D-pad anymore. Like I feel like my fingers are gonna like you know like chomp each other like, in anger. Like why the fuck do you not work?
Yeah, it's fighting games. They are amazing. It's a lot of dedication, a lot of time that goes into it too.
Do you have anything to say, Ali?
I button mash, and I really know the fighting community is a very friendly community, actually. And they're like Kitty says, they're always out to help each other. Like they always go like, hey, you know, Ali, do you want to come learn? We will literally teach you. And I'm like, no. And there's one big reason why I wouldn't want to learn is because I cannot remember the combos for my life if it was dependent on me. No, thank you. I don't need to know any more stuff and overload my brain with that. So I commemorate all the fighting game people because I know that's a lot of combos, and a lot of people who play fighting games play a lot of different fighting games, and there's a lot of combos. Blah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all the genres that I had on my list. Can you ladies think of any other genres that you are heavily invested in, or at least play?
Survival horror.
Ah, yes. I don't play that as often. But why do you play survival horror games, Kitty?
They're my favorite genre. And it all started for me with Silent Hill 2, which was back in like, I don't know, 2002 or something. But the reason why I love this genre so much is because I love scary things. So I love being able to play a game and get scared. Walking around each corner and being afraid, like you're always kind of restricting yourself from doing certain things because you don't know what's going to happen. And you're so afraid to like walk in that door because you don't know if something's in there. And then like at the moments when you least expect it, something comes out and tries to kill you. I'm like a very emotional player when I play video games. So anything that gets like my adrenaline pumping is amazing for me. And my favorite thing about survival horror is that, you know, you always get that feeling. Around every corner, you're afraid to do stuff, and you're always like on top of your toes. So for me, it all started with Silent Hill, and from there, Parasite Eve, other games like that. There's some survival horror games that I won't touch. Like, I honestly won't touch Resident Evil. Even though I touched it a while back, I know that's like, oh, fan favorite, everybody loves it. But it's just something I don't really get that connection with, because I feel like it's more about the technology and things like that versus something like, oh, you're just alone in the dark and you're trying to survive. Well, my favorite series of all time is Silent Hill. The reason why is because they have the most like average regular people, and they're put in these crazy situations. The first one, Harry's looking for her daughter, who's just like ran in this foggy town. It's like so cool. Everything goes into it. Like the art is usually on point, the dynamic, the sound, everything's working to a point where it just really gets to me.
Wow, you must have like skin as tough as steel, because I can't play, you know, psycho horror games by myself. Like I need Kitty, can you come over to my house and like I'll like backseat driver you? Because I can't play those games. Like I always watch them on like either like PewDiePie or like Cry or like even Necroscope. Like I watch them play these games, but I can't play these games. I'm so afraid, and I think it's because you know, as a kid I used to watch my female cousin play Resident Evil. She played Resident Evil 2 when I was like 7, 8 years old, and I had nightmares for 3 months. And I think I can never to this day like get myself to play. Like I'll play Mass Effect because I have a gun, but like if I'll play Resident Evil, but like games like Silent Hill, games like Dead Space, like I just cannot play those games by myself.
Yeah, it's weird, especially playing it at night. Oh my goodness, that's something even I kind of hesitate with doing. But I find a lot of people don't really play survival horror, like, because of that, because it is so scary. But I find it, like, really interesting for me. It's fun.
I think survival horror...
I love horror movies.
I think survival horror is making a comeback with all these games like Slender. I know there's more than Slender now. I don't know if you count as survival horror, but they're coming out with so many games, especially for the PC, which I wish I could play.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
There's a lot of indie... I've been watching, Chaotic Monkey, Cry, and PewDiePie. They play a lot more, like, they're showing a lot more indie horror games, so, like, Yumi Nikki, Ib, The Witch's House, Corpse Party, and even now Mad Father. Like, there's a lot of, like, indie games that are coming out. They're horror games, and, like, they're suspenseful, and they're scary, and they're, like, creepy, but they're all, 2D RPG Maker type of games, and they're really good. But it's like, I think, like, horror games are having a comeback where they're trying to think of a different way to, like, scare you, or, like, make horror games more enticing, but at the same time not make it sort of like a Silent Hill or Resident Evil kind of thing, but kind of, like, take it to the next level, like, actually get into your psyche and just, like, have a mind fuck or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, Silent Hill 2 is definitely... The story was so just amazing for me. It's always been with me. It's so haunting. I don't know if you guys have played it or not. I don't want to give spoilers. But yeah, at the end, you find out that basically what you're looking for isn't there.
Silent Hill 2 to me has had the most impacting story in a video game ever. Ever. I have felt so many emotions. I felt happy. I felt anger. I felt despair at moments. I felt so down and so deep at points that I cried, at points. It's amazing that a video game can get to your brain and really mess with you that much. Everything about this game, about Silent Hill in general, each enemy you come against, you're not just fighting monsters, you're attacking beings. Every character has a symbolism in your life, in your psyche. Things that you think that are real and they are supposed to be there aren't, and they're not real, and they're leading you to a black hole. And whether you see it or not, it really catches the player off guard. Anything that really gets to me like that, it's amazing. Love it. Also, I have to be immersed in the game. Right. The atmosphere has to be on point.
Yeah, I think Silent Hill 4 was kind of like, it's between 3 and 4. I think 3 was just kind of like, what the hell is going on? Because, like, you follow Heather, and then, like, you just find yourself in these, like, really weird situations. But 4 was really interesting, because you're, like, you're locked in your room, and then, like, to venture outside of your room, you have to go through, like, this hall, and then, when you finally venture outside your apartment, you're just like, what the hell happened to my, to everything? Yeah. Like, it's just... Like, I love Silent Hill for that. That's why I love the movie. But I don't think I could ever play the games by myself. I always have to, like, attach somebody. Like, even if it's, like, my little brother or sister, and they're just, like, behind me, like, I'm scared shitless, I don't want to watch this. I'm like, you're gonna stay and watch this. I need a backseat driver.
Also, with the, like, survival horror, I feel they have, like, really good stories built into it.
Well, they have to, because they have to, like, really immerse players when they play it.
Yeah.
If it's something that's, like, what's a really crappy psycho horror game?
Fear 3 was really bad. That's all I know. If you guys played Fear 3, that's
but why was it? Was it bad because the story sucked, or was it bad just because I didn't play Fear 3? I don't play Fear. I saw the trailer to that, and I was like, nope.
Okay, Fear 1 and 2 was freaking scary, but I think because like with some certain games that it didn't have co-op, now it had co-op, and I don't know, just the story was lacking because I think they focused so much on having co-op incorporated.
Ooh.
So I was like, everything was kind of being deterred, and even if I did play it by myself, I wouldn't have probably gotten as scared shitless as I would have, and I didn't feel as immersed as I should have been.
Yeah, that's the whole co-op thing. It's a neat feature, but like the games like Fear and Dead Space, I think I would have to play those by myself, definitely. Now, there was a game, the first horror game to actually introduce that whole co-op aspect was called Obscure. And it was for the PS2. But that game, it really did it well because each character in the game had a certain ability. So, like, to be able to proceed further in the story, you had a certain character and you had to switch, or your partner would come up with that character to be able to get you through. And I really love that part about games, and I would like for some new developer to actually implement that. That would be pretty sweet.
I really loved Obscure, like just for that same reason. But the only problem I had about it was like the story was a little bit kind of weird. Like you're just trapped in this school, and you're trying to get out, but like the basis of why the school all of a sudden is like infested with all these like really weird monsters. It never really got to me. I was just like, what? Why is this happening? Like it's just like, oh, it just happened, and it's like, oh, okay.
Especially the second one. I was like, what the heck is going on with the story?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just go shut up. So I guess other categories or genres are like adventure and puzzle games, but I don't really. I mean, adventure and RPG is kind of mixed together in the sense like Legend of Zelda and like Mario and stuff like that. But puzzle games like Puzzle Fighter and Tetris, I'm not going to say that I'm not a big player on that. So I don't know. Are you ladies? Any other genres that you ladies play in?
When I think of like puzzle game, I'm kind of thinking of like real-time strategy games now. Like I guess kind of like League of Legends or StarCraft. Personally, I'm not like a huge fan of those games because it does take a while to play. This is where I like to kind of do different stuff in between, but I play a hell of a lot of Tetris.
Oh my god, I love Tetris.
I think the only strategy-ish game that I play, it's not a video game actually, it's just a regular board game. It's called Settlers of Catan. I fucking love that game. That game is like if I ever, like when I get my apartment and I have like a housewarming party, I'm breaking out my Settlers of Catan and popping up 2 bottles of champagne and a bottle of wine. I'm having a party. It's gonna be like, yo, let's settle, bitches. But I can't think of. I think that's all the genres, right, ladies, that we kind of play in. Yeah. And I guess we explained why we play them, so if there's any genres that we didn't say anything, please comment below and on the video, and it'll probably like turn on the light, and then we're like, oh yeah, we do play that.
Yeah,
We do play that, but there's so many different genres. We actually just covered the first couple, or the first 5 or 6 that we mostly play in, so yeah. Anyways, I think that's pretty good. I think it's time to wrap it up, ladies. Alrighty then. So, thanks for watching / listening to Gaming Valkyries. Tune in next week where we will talk about something that we have yet to discuss what will be. So, thanks again for watching and listening. Subscribe to our channel to receive updates. Also, tweet us, Facebook us. Below is the links. So, thanks again for watching / listening. I am Nars.
I'm Ellie Mew.
Patty Unleashed.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.